Every day, thousands of people travel to Ayodhya to donate to the Ram Mandir. An old farmer hands over a portion of his crop earnings. A mother gives the money she saved by cutting back on household expenses. They do this believing their offerings go straight to the deity. But behind the brass donation slits, an organized syndicate was waiting to intercept it. To understand the mechanics of this heist, we have to look at how the temple's finances were structured. Following the 2019 Supreme Court ruling to build the temple, the government formed a trust, the Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Tirth Kshetra, to manage the construction and all the incoming wealth. But the government engineered a very specific legal framework for this trust. They designated it as a completely autonomous entity, removed from standard state oversight, and filled its board with political insiders. In this context, autonomous carries a very specific legal weight. It means the trust was explicitly shielded from the Right to Information Act, or RTI. For standard public projects, any citizen can file an RTI to see exactly how their money is being spent. Here, that right was severed. We can see exactly how this protection works in practice. When an official RTI request was filed asking for details about the trust's tax relief, it was flatly rejected. The document cited the trust's status as an autonomous body as the sole reason for refusing to disclose the information. By legally blocking the public's right to audit the accounts, the architects of this system created a financial black box. The public's money entered, but accountability was barred at the door. Inside that black box, the sheer volume of cash was staggering. During festivals, the temple was pulling in up to 60 lakh rupees in a single day. To manage this, a highly secure counting room was established 200 meters from the temple, constantly monitored by TCS-operated cameras. Early on, a private audit firm evaluated this setup and issued a stark warning. The management was unprofessional and the risk of theft was imminent. But instead of fixing the vulnerabilities, the trust suppressed the warning file entirely. The State Bank of India was originally supposed to handle the professional counting and transport of the cash. Instead, the trust pressured the bank to abandon its standard hiring protocols. The counting room was suddenly staffed by the trustees' own nephews, brothers-in-law, and personal drivers. Initially, their theft was crude. These legacy hires knew the camera layouts, so they would intentionally block the lens views, stuff bundles of 500 rupee notes into their pockets, and hide them in the washrooms to split later. Eventually, new security guards were added, making the pocketing method too risky. So the syndicate innovated. To see how they pulled this off, look at this animation of a standard cash bundling process. Normally, a machine sorts the mixed donations into organized bundles of exactly 100 notes. But the workers manipulated the math. They packed 120 notes into the paper bands meant for 100. The official voucher attached to the bundle still said 100 notes. Then, while transporting the cash from the temple to the bank, the couriers simply skimmed off the 20 undocumented notes. The bank received the 100 notes listed on the voucher, and the books appeared balanced. State-of-the-art cameras and banking protocols are completely useless if the people hired to operate them are part of the syndicate. While the counting room skimming drained the daily offerings, vastly larger sums were extracted through external real estate deals. The mechanics of the land flip scam were simple. Middlemen would purchase a plot of land near the temple for a relatively low market value. In one specific case, a 1.2 hectare plot was bought for 2 crore rupees. This timeline chart maps exactly what happened next. Just 10 minutes after that initial purchase, the exact same piece of land was sold to the temple trust for 18.5 crore rupees. That is a 16.5 crore rupees markup, generated in the time it takes to drink a cup of tea. Whistleblowers eventually handed over 11 separate land documents, identifying this exact blueprint, proving that buying cheap to sell high to the trust was a standard operating procedure. Physical assets were disappearing too. Devotees donated 200 kilograms of solid silver bricks and a 3-kilogram gold necklace. The insiders received these items, but they were never officially entered into the trust's ledger or receipted. The trust's autonomous status converted the public's real estate and gold donations into untraceable private wealth. By the spring of 2026, the irregularities were too massive to ignore. Frustrated by the trust's refusal to change the staff, rogue SBI officials planted a hidden camera in the counting room. Within a week, they caught the syndicate red-handed, actively hiding bundles of cash in their clothes. This triggered a wave of police raids on the low-level temple workers. What investigators found in their homes was a staggering accumulation of unexplained wealth. These were men drawing salaries of roughly 12,000 to 22,000 rupees a month. Yet the raids turned up 25 lakh houses, luxury SUVs, and in the case of one former auto driver turned temple administrator, a property portfolio worth 50 crore rupees. The cover-up began immediately. As soon as the investigation launched, 180 days of mandatory temple CCTV footage was permanently deleted. WhatsApp chats were erased, and mobile phones were wiped clean of digital evidence. But the most fatal flaw in the pursuit of justice was structural. Look at this organizational flowchart mapping the investigation. The Special Investigation Team compiled their preliminary report on the corruption and submitted it to the Additional Chief Secretary. But the Additional Chief Secretary sits directly on the board of the Temple Trust itself. The investigators were handing their evidence to a member of the group they were supposed to be investigating. As a result, low-level clerks, mechanics, and drivers were thrown in jail, while the powerful trust architects who engineered the system remain untouched. Removing standard state oversight and blocking the public's right to information does not protect a sacred institution. Without mandatory RTI access and real-time public dashboards, autonomous religious trusts become highly engineered black holes designed to absorb public faith and enrich a protected few.